So I'm curious about if for the people that have had some sort of awakening experience or come to understand these things that we're talking about, what have you found is, because obviously the journey doesn't just stop, the seeking for something other might stop, but there seems to be, I've met a lot of people that would say that they understand this or know who they are. Some of those people are wildly egocentric and suffering still and caught up in all of these other ideas and things. Some people are just peace and love. And why do you think that is different? Do you still read spiritual texts? Is there anything that you're still kind of working on or seeking, or what's kind of the next step for those people?
So for me, my practice is embodiment. For the last couple of years, I think that so many of the great traditions you have these sages, mystics, heroes who have seen how it is. We see, oh, wow, look at the Buddha, he's enlightened. Look at Christ, he's God. Look at whoever. And then we start climbing the steps to try to get to where we think they want us to go, towards enlightenment, towards salvation, towards being Christ-like, whatever our stories are. And it's up to the ego to do that. And when you see how it is, though, what about you see that the ego didn't do anything to inherit it? So what I'm trying to do with this book, and I'm borrowing this metaphor from a guy named Fred Davis, the stairs thing, rather than trying to climb the stairs, seeing who we are, or our start at the top of the stairs. Why not just take a look at who we actually are, if we can? And that's what I hope this book can help some people do. Like, who are you under those stories? Let's start there, at the top of the steps. And then when you have that awareness and you can see, oh, I'm not just this separate guy, Michael Gungor. That's a story that people have told about this organism over here that keeps changing, and given like a solid idea to hold, to say that the baby organism is the same as this guy sitting at the table. We need some kind of story to like tie it all together, even though it's not the same. How could you say that baby is the same thing as this guy sitting here? With a story called Michael Gungor. And so when you see through that story, and you see that if there's an I, it's the I am of all of this that goes together, because there is no Michael Gungor without the air that Michael Gungor is breathing, without this planet, without its trees, without all the other life forms that are all part of the ecosystem, without the galaxies that give rise to planets. And so I am the all telling the story of Michael Gungor. And when I see that, now, rather than coming at it from a Michael Gungor trying to get out to the all, I can move to embodiment, which is seeing as the all, and I can see that in my mind. I can see through the thought patterns that I used to have. And then now I can move that awareness into my body, into this body. Because that takes time. That is a lifelong journey of getting, it's like when you see a great musician, when you watch Yo-Yo Ma play cello, he's not doing that with his prefrontal cortex. He's not sitting there like thinking every note, like, okay, now I got to play this note. Oh shoot, now I got to play this note. D flat, E flat. It's like, it's in his body. It's down in his fingertips and in his elbows and in his biceps. It's in his muscles. It's in his bones. And so getting this awareness down into your bones and into your muscles and into your automatic reflexes and how you interact with people, how you respond to stimulus and what you're into and all that takes time. So the practice of embodiment, of letting awareness move into your muscles and open them up and relax them, be like, it's okay. You're not who you think you are. You're bicep of Michael Gungor. You're actually part of all of this, and you can relax and be okay. And so I found even though my understanding hasn't I've been at a pretty clear place in my understanding that I'm the all. That doesn't waver anymore. It's deepening in my body's experience, if that makes any sense. And over time, and that's not just been something that's been my experience, that's been told to me from others. I'm like, man, you've just seemed different than you used to be. Yeah. And I didn't get that at first when I saw this. I thought my experience internally was radically different, but I don't think I was radically different to the world because I hadn't embodied what I saw yet. And so my work is to get it down into my toe, my third toe, into my belly and into the chakras. This week I've been breathing into I can't remember the name of it. It starts with an M, but that chakra below beneath the belly button or whatever. That's been my spot this week of just breathing there and letting space and love open there. And I'm not doing that to be enlightened. I'm not doing that to gain powers. I'm doing that to love this body because this body is the way that awareness, that the all is experiencing this life, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. That's something I just have kind of recently realized, that a lot of the practices that I've gotten really into or learned about that I thought was to get you to enlightenment, I had that backwards.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do all these things to get to that understanding, but they can be helpful tools for what you're calling embodiment. Or there's been other kind of, I think a lot of the different schools of thought or practices that we see that all have different names or ways of explaining it are essentially to do that. But then we think that they're to get us to this other thing. To
get up the stairs, yeah.
Yeah, but it's actually more helpful.
Climb down.
Yeah, and that's a much easier way to do it, I think, than thinking you have to get to this destination, is to just look back and reflect on that with peace and knowing that there's not a have to about it or a should or to get you to a certain place. And then there can be this piece about not feeling rushed because you understand who you are. And then that process can become a lot less stressful or like an ego trying to become something. Is there any particular practice that you've been doing lately to do that?
Before the belly breathing this week, I've done heart breathing has been my thing for a while. Just embodiment exercise. My wound, any Enneagram people out there, I'm an Enneagram 5. And so my typical ways of being in the world have been about the head and about trying to figure out everything and turn everything into a construct. So I found that moving into my body with my awareness and really having my attention on the sensations in my body opens up all that I was trying to get at when I would try to turn everything into a thought. I was looking for this like transcendent okayness or whatever. But I found funny enough, and I like the paradox of moving into the messiness of flesh and physicality is actually, I find the feelings that I was looking for of like openness and wonder and okayness by moving in.